Hi guys, it's Jacob now with some exciting updates on Beyond Soundbites podcast. Let's jump right into it. The thing that I'm excited to announce and share is that we're getting ready to launch another series of Beyond Soundbites episodes, and these episodes are going to explore asylum issues by introducing listeners to Central Americans at various stages of their migration journey. Since I went to Turkey about 2 years ago, and met refugees and asylum seekers over there, two things have happened. One is that in the U.S., the Trump administration has continued shrinking down our refugee admissions program. And secondly, there's been increasing attention to the U.S. asylum system as politicians direct the country's eyes to the U.S.-Mexico border. And the asylum system is basically the other immigration mechanism that allows protection for people who may fit the legal definition of a refugee. This fiscal year, 2019, there are about 21,000 people so far who have entered the U.S. as refugees. And if you compare that to asylum claims, in fiscal year 2017, there were 260,000 claims for asylum in the United States. I've been working with people who arrived through the refugee program since about 2006, and my knowledge of the U.S. asylum system has been next to nothing until about the last year and a half. My guess is that there's many people like me who also don't know much about the U.S. asylum system and, more importantly, aren't acquainted with the people who are seeking to enter or who have entered the U.S. through that program. So the goal of these next episodes is to introduce listeners to some of those folks. We want to go deeper than the typical sound bites and hear some of their own stories in their own voices and words. We want to use narrative and research to engage listeners at a heart level and a head level. And we want to be reminded over and over that every person who takes on the title refugee, immigrant, or asylum seeker is created by God and loved by Him with a depth that we cannot comprehend. Part 1 will be visiting Honduras and El Salvador, two countries in what's referred to as the Northern Triangle. These trips will take place in November 2019 and January 2020. I'll be working with two organizations that are going to help me connect with people to meet and interview. The general goal for these conversations will be to gain insight into the nuanced reasons that people decide to emigrate north to the United States from those regions, and to understand better how U.S. border and asylum policies affect communities that see high volumes of emigration out to the United States. Part 2 will be visiting some communities along the U.S.-Mexico border in order to better understand the challenges there and how communities are responding. Those logistics and the partner organizations in those areas are still developing. And part 3 will be the production process, sifting through all the audio, translating and transcribing interviews, writing, researching, revising, recording narration and voiceovers, creating a musical score, audio mixing and mastering. The last time around, it took a team of about a dozen people to pull all those elements together. I expect the same this time. It will likely require another round of fundraising to cover those production costs. So stay tuned for that. The hope is to start releasing these episodes in July of 2020. I'm going to put up on the screen here the working budgets for Part 1 and Part 2 of the project altogether. The estimate is that it will cost about $8,700. This time around, I'm including an interpreter in the costs. This will expand my flexibility and my availability to potential interviewees. It will also keep me from being a drain on the staff and the personnel of my partner organizations. I appreciate so many of you who have given and who've made this project possible so far. If you'd like to continue doing that and make this next stage of the project possible, you can give on the GoFundMe page, and that money will go, it's set up as a personal thing, so it'll go straight to me. If you want to give in a way where you definitely have a tax-deductible donation, I do have a fiscal sponsor, and it's a platform called Expat Media Pro, which is powered by this nonprofit called Missions Made Viable. And there is also a link included if you want to give through them and have a tax-deductible donation. Thank you so much. I'm excited to update you guys on these next stages.